Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. So this time we have Dan's list, which took second place at the LLDS in Kallangur in Australia. As you can tell, it is a pure striker list, very hand trap heavy, designed to basically go second, hand trap your opponent during their first turn, and then either kill them or just have so much advantage that you just win the game outright. So let's go through the list, then the siding strategy in the rounds, and I've got some questions that I sent to Dan, which he sent back answers for, which is great, so we can get those answers to you as well. So triple Ash Blossom, triple Ghost Ogre, triple Gamma, and one Driver, triple Sky Blaster, triple Ray, double Call by the Grave, one Rotor, double Shared Ride in the main, one Area Zero, one Afterburners, one Jamming Waves, and one Eagle Booster, triple Hornet, triple Widow, two multi-roll, one Hercules base, triple engage, one terraforming, one upstart, and one evenly matched. A bit interesting because it's just the one in the main, none in the side. As for the extra deck, we've got one Omega, one Borrowload, one Borrow Sword. For the Nightmares, just Phoenix and Unicorn, and two Link Spiders, basically chosen instead of Link Rebo because the tokens from Skyblaster are still normal monsters, but they are level 4. And then double Hayate, or Hayate, triple Kagari, triple Shizuku, and that's it for the extra deck. In the side deck, one Topologic Bomber Dragon, triple Droll, triple Radiant, one Shared Ride, one Call by the Grave, triple Twisters, and triple Mind Crush. So the side deck geared more to be able to combat sort of mirror matches, and a lot of matches where you just get free pluses off the Mind Crush now. So for the siding strategy then, this is just against the meta decks that he could potentially go up against. So first off, Trickstar Sky Strikers, so for most of these you'll see that the Topologic Bomber Dragon goes straight in and the Link Spider comes out because he realised during his first round that you could actually perform the OTK combo with only a single Link Spider, whereas beforehand he thought he would need two of it. So in all of these you're going to see Bomber Dragon out, in, and one Link Spider out. So going first against Trickstar Sky Strikers, he's putting in the Mind Crushes and the Shared Ride just to get that extra advantage, and then going second, putting in the Drolls and Twisters in order to blow out the back row and lock them out of a turn. For the Mirror, again, it's exactly the same siding strategy, and yeah, there's no difference there. Both of those decks are just sort of resource heavy, who can set up first and who can blow out your opponent first, versus Burning Abyss Sekka. He's putting in the one Call by the Grave, taking out the evenly matched when going first, and for going second, putting in the Kaiju and the Twisters. I imagine the Twisters are sort of because you expect your opponent to be putting in anti-spell fragrances, because that's definitely something that Burning Abyss Sekka can afford to commit to. They might also be setting Twin Twisters in the current setup, so if you can blow out theirs with your own ones, then it means that you don't have to worry about them popping your own back row that you've been setting. Versus Spiral, putting in the Mind Crushes and the Shared Ride going first, they do a lot of adding, and if you can take a sleeper out of their hand, then they're going to really struggle unless they have another way in order to get it back. And then for going second, the Drolls, two Drolls and two Radiants, so locking them out of a turn can be pretty important, and just Kaijuing away their sleeper can be pretty crucial as well. Versus Goki, going first, putting in the Mind Crushes, Shared Ride, and Call by the Grave. All of these really useful. Just the way that they interact with your opponent can be pretty important. And then going second, got the Drolls and the Radiants. Generally a Kaiju, as he says, is enough to be able to deal with the board, because you can just sort of keep using your Widow Anchors and your Afterburners in order to remove all of the different pieces from their board. So for the rounds that he played, just a single loss here. So he played 5 rounds. Round 1 against Spiral, he 2-0'd them. Round 2 against Goki, 2-0'd them. Round 3 against Sekka BA, 2-0'd them. Round 4 against Star Striker, he 2-0'd them. And round 5 against Crusadia Strikers, he went 0-2 here. So this will be pretty interesting to see if we could get the list from Crusadia Strikers. Very much an OTK based deck. And then having that Striker engine as well. So I imagine it plays very similar to Pure in the sense that you want to remove all of your opponent's options and then just OTK them with your own cards. So for the questions that I sent Dan, let's just run through a few things. So first off, I asked him how the event was. He said it was pretty good. He felt confident with the deck list because of Hayate's release. The deck is now really strong at going second and has much less extra deck heavy OTKs, thanks to the Borrow Sword just being that one card that enables it all. because Hayate basically does the same job as Burial Goods, he decided to take out those cards completely in favor of things like Call by the Grave and Shared Ride. I asked him why he decided to run Pure Strikers. He was tossing it up between Pure Strikers and Goki. He decided on Pure in the end because he felt that it was the deck he had played the most, and he enjoyed it the most as well. Then, with the hand trap heavy build, it looks like he sort of kitted it out to go second versus most decks. I wanted to know if he felt like he had enough for something like Goki, and if he would change any of the hand traps in the main. He said that 9 was definitely enough for Goki in theory, and anytime he opened Gamma, unless they had a monstery ball, the combo had stopped with the Firewall, and a lot of wasted resources at that point. In future, he would switch out the Ogres for Veilers, or if he could afford them, the Impermanences. So we don't often see Eagle Booster in the main deck. I just wondered why he opted to play this within the main. He said it was a last minute addition over a second field spell. In the future he would probably side it in favour of that field spell, or possibly a Shark Cannon, but the card does come up a lot in grind games, so it can be pretty useful in those scenarios. Then we saw he had the Shared Ride in the main. He said his goal for most matchups was to stop the turn 1 plays with hand traps and then have enough cards to get himself into a comfortable position and set up Anchor, Shizuku, and having Shared Ride to help him reload after all of his resources were spent is really important. Then obviously there's just the one copy of Evenly in the main and none on the side. Basically it was a last minute addition. He needed something to replace the Metaphor's Fusion, so it became the 40th card. He just chucked it in. He didn't really feel like he needed it at any point, and he didn't feel like he needed more of it in a side deck. As for the extra, you can see there are the 2 Link Spiders, and no Link Karibo. We've already mentioned that is of course because the Skyblaster tokens are level 4, so you can't summon them off the so you can't summon a Link Karibo off those, but you can summon the Link Spider, and then because it was his first time playing around with the Borosword combo, he didn't know that he only needed the 1 Link Spider there. So in the future he is considering switching this up, potentially putting in a different option, but it's unlikely to be Link Karibo because the tokens are the level 4s, of course. As for the side deck, we can see that he played the Kaiju instead of Sphere Modes. Ultimately he said that Kaiju get the job done against Goki. If you take out the Tri-Gate and break the U, then you can just continue to dismantle it piece by piece with Afterburners and Widow Anchors. Ultimately, Kaijus are going to be more helpful against other decks as well, like in the Mirror. And if your opponent decides to just not put 3 big monsters on the board, then Sphere Mode's not going to be doing anything in that particular scenario. As for the Mind Crushers and the Drolls on the side, I wanted to know if this was because he felt he would be facing a lot of Trickstar Sky Strikers, Pure Strikers, or something similar. So he said in testing he wasn't really liking Droll, and within the main it just seemed to clog a lot in the hand. Of course it is extremely good against the Mirror, so going second against the Mirror they always go in, and whenever he knows that he's going to be forced to go first, or he thinks that it would be more beneficial, then he puts in Mind Crushers, an easy side in, because it disrupts pretty much everything in the meta currently. As for changes that he'd make to the list beyond what we've already mentioned, so he'd switch the 2 Shared Rides in the main for the Twisters because he felt like he didn't have enough outs for decks like Draco or Altergeist, so he just got a bit lucky not having to face those. The Eagle Booster would move to the side, and he would either replace it with a second field spell or a Shark Cannon in the main, and the second Spider is coming out immediately for the Bomber Dragon. As for the hardest or easiest matchups with the build, he said that it has a pretty breezy time against most decks. It just excels in the grind game and can surprise OTK with 2 cards. The only time the deck struggles is when you don't open some of your hand traps against a deck like Goki. As for shoutouts, he wanted to shout out his friend Hayden for lending him the Borosword and just helping out a lot with the testing and theory crafting. So congratulations Dan for getting second place at Kallangur at the LLDS there. It's a really solid looking list, some great theory behind it, and hopefully you progress and move forwards, and good luck to you in future events. If you're looking to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! But you don't have the money for an expensive deck, or there aren't any events happening near you, then Dueling Book Prize Tournaments is a brand new way to take part in competitive events from your own home. This is a Facebook group dedicated to running premier level events, offering incredible prizes for cheap entry, and you don't even have to buy your own cards. As an example of just how high-end these tournaments will be, the winner of the first 32-person single elimination event will receive a super rare YCSW Giant Hand worth around £250. As a result, these events will include some of the greatest players of the TCG regions, and the roster is already filling up with giants of the game. For your chance to get involved in these tournaments, head over to the Facebook page by following the link in the description, and good luck in those events. Hopefully you do really well, and bring your decks onto Top Deck. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.